Today we're going to do a short video on how to forge weld chain. I make my chain, most of it, from 5/16 cold rolled steel, 6 inches long. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. When I make my chain, I like my lengths to be oval and I like them to be uniform. So I'm going to show you today how I make chain. Okay, the main tools that we're going to use when we make this chain, we're going to use a pair of chain maker's tongs. Going to use a pair of V-bit flat jaw tongs. We're going to use our hammer. Okay. We'll be using anti-borax number 2. I find it works better for me than regular multi borax. We're going to start with 5/16 cold rolled steel. I find cold roll, it doesn't have the mill scale on it and it welds better for me, but I have made lots of chain out of hot rolled, so it really doesn't matter. I just find cold roll works better. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll start by putting this in the fire so we can bend it in a U shape. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to heat our 6-inch piece up evenly in the forge. That's what we want to do, and we're going to bend it into a U shape over the horn of the anvil. The first thing we want to do. Got it fairly even. We just want to make sure that our sides are even. And there's our U-shaped piece. Now we're going to put that back in the fire. So I'll put a little more coke down in the fire. We're going to put that down in the fire. Now what we're going to do this time is we're going to take the one that's in the fire and we're going to scarf it to get it ready to weld. Now when we scarf it, we're going to take it over here. We're going to put it on the very corner of this step of the anvil. And we'll take the hammer and I'm going to put about 3 blows on it. And when I do that, it's going to make a step about half the thickness of the original piece. And then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. And I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side, about 3 to 4 blows. We're going to make a step in that piece. Now at this point with the U-shaped bent, we're going to switch over to our chain maker's tongs. They're easier to hold the stock with, and I can work it better. So we bring this out, set it on the step of the anvil, 4 blows, 180 degrees, 4 blows, we're going to go 1 more, maybe 2, let's do 1 more here. Okay, now if you look at that, that gives us a step right here and a step right there, if you can see them. Now what that step does, if you take two pieces of steel and you just lap them over, when you forge weld them, you won't be able to get rid of this lap right here. So if you forge those steps in there about half the thickness, then you have a piece more like that. And you can blend these in. So that's what we're doing. We call that scarfing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring it out, and we're going to take that piece we have, we're going to fold those two scarfed ends over onto each other to make our link. So bring them out, I put them over the horn of the anvil. Bring that one that way. Bring that one that way. Get them overlap. Now while I've got it at this stage right here, I want to show you that point. A lot of people that make chain, that's how they overlap their scarves. And then they get a pointy end and they can't get it to blend well. Then they get a thin spot. So what I do is I bring those on around and overlap them into an oval, and I can get a better blend on them, and I don't end up with that pointy spot. I think it makes a stronger joint. So let's bring that on around. Once I get them overlapped, I bring them on around. And there it is. See how that overlaps? We don't have a pointy end or much of a pointy end, and I overlap them good. I just don't cross them. I overlap them good. Now we're going to take that, we're going to put it back in the fire. This time we're going to heat it up to a good dollish red, light orange heat. We don't want it real hot. We're going to wire brush it real good and get the scale off of it. Once we get the the scale off of it, we're going to take and we're going to flux it with our anti-borax. So we just got kind of a bright red, dull orange. We're going to wire brush it until it quits forming scale. So we've got it where it's not forming scale anymore. We're going to bring it over here. We're going to flux it. We want to get the flux all the way around it. We want to flux all the way around it. Now we want to stick it in the fire, standing it on end. We don't want to go real deep in the fire, but we want to stand that up on end, that link up on end, so that the heat goes up between the links and it heats the link evenly. There's a picture of our link heating up in the fire. Notice it's standing on end with that joint down in the fire. Now we're going to heat this up slowly. Don't want to bring it up real fast. We just want to bring it up slowly. We want it to get a nice even heat is what we want. Now I'm going to watch that. We forge welded about between 2300 and 2400 degrees. The borax will start burning about 2200. So you got about 100 degrees there where you get a nice greenish blue flame from the borax that's starting to burn off. So we want to just bring it up to a nice even heat. When we get close, that scale will start, the flux will start walking around the top of that steel and just kind of crawling. It gets a real wet look to it. So we've got greenish blue flames. We're getting close. No use getting any real hurry. But notice I'm not just cranking away on this blower. I'm just giving it a steady stream. So here we go. Now we're going to put it back in the fire without refluxing. Now our weld's set. If you'll notice, I use the wood handle of my hammer to set that. It's what I did. I used the wood handle. The reason I do that is because I want to tap that weld. I want to set it. If you do like you see on a lot of movies and TVs and things, you'll see them and they'll hit that and sparks will fly everywhere. Okay? Well, what they're doing when they hit that real hard is they're taking those two molten surfaces that we actually want to join, we want to bond, which is what welding is. You're bonding two molten surfaces. They're taking that liquid, basically, steel, and they're just splattering it everywhere, and they're leaving you with two cold pieces of steel, and I say cold, but relatively 1800, somewhere in there, that won't weld. Now you may get the very corners, very sides of it to weld, but you won't get the center of it to weld. You'll have a bad weld. So you just want to tap that. You just want to push those two layers of molten steel together and make them bond. Now when I bring it out this time, I'm going to use the face of the hammer, and I'm going to work on both sides of that weld. Then I'm going to bring it over, we're going to start dressing it on the horn of the anvil. I have to be in welding heat when I bring it out. And I'm still not hitting hard as much. I'm just tapping. Now I'm going to water brush it this time. Not going to bother refluxing it. We've done all we can with the flux. Put it back in the fire. Don't want to put it in too deep. Now, like I said, we're going to start dressing it on the horn of that anvil. We want it at a welding temperature when we dress it. Now we're going to start, we're going to dress the top and the bottom at the same time on the horn of that anvil. We're rounding that scarf up, we're blending everything in, trying to make everything match. We don't want to work it cold. Now there's our link. Now if you notice, our link is an oval. So when we bring it out of the fire the next time, we're going to make the link oval. Because right now it's not quite oval. Put it back in the fire. Bring it up to welding heat one more time. Another quick note on forge welding. Normally, I like to keep the coal above the top of the fire pot. And most of the time I like it heated up, but when I'm making chain, I like it to be about level with the fire pot. And that way I can stick the link straight up and down in the fire, and I can see it, and I can keep track of it. Now we're going to make that oval. Now the sides, I don't want the sides to cave in on me, so I just set them on the horn and I tap them with the side of the hammer. I get my side straight, get everything the way I want it. Just wire brush it a little bit. And there's my link. Blends nice. It's got a nice oval shape to it. That's our first link. Now we do what's called chain maker's math. We're going to set us another link in here. We're going to bend it in half, just like we did before. We're going to start all over again. Back to chain maker's math. Chain maker's math is you make one link, you forge weld it, set it off the side. You make another link, you forge weld it, you set it off the side, that gives you 2 links. When you make that third link, you bend it, you scarf it, you shape the link, but before you close it and weld it, you open it up a little bit and you drop the other 2 links in it. And then you close it up, you wire brush it, you flux it, and you weld it, and that gives you 3 links. We got our two links that we made before right here. We're going to go back to that chain math. We've got 2 that we've made. Now we're going to take this third one that we've got shaped and scarfed. We're going to open it up. We're going to hook these 2, and then we're going to close it back up and flux it and weld it. So we just want to open this up. Like that. Just want to open it up. We're going to come over here. Going to hook 1. Going to hook 2. Just like that. And we're going to close it back up. Going to grab it back on that oval side again, on the back side. We're going to make sure our scars line up where we want them to. Now we've lost our heat, so we're going to heat it back up to a reddish heat, reddish-orange heat. We're going to wire brush it, and we're going to flux that joint before we weld it. We just want to wire brush between those pieces best we can. Get all the scale off best we can. Now that it's quick forming scale, we're going to come over here and we're going to flux it. All the way around, all sides. Now we're going to rake a little elk into our fire. We're going to stand this up on end with those other 2 links up out of the way. And we're slowly going to heat that to a welding heat. Starting to get some reddish blue flames. We're getting where we want to be. Surface is starting to crawl. Just let it soak for a little bit. Don't need to get in any hurry. Now we're going to weld it. In the fire real quick without refluxing it or water brushing it. Standing it up on end and keeping those other 2 links out of the fire as best we can. We don't want to burn them other 2 links. So we now have 3 links of chain. We have started our chain. So what you do when you make chain is you make 2 more separate links. You join them together with a 3rd connecting link and you weld it. Then you take those 2 groups of 3 that you've made and you hook them together with a connecting link and you make a group of 7. Then you make another group of 7 just like you did the other 7, starting with 1, then 2, then 3, and then 1 and 2 and 3, and then take the 2 groups of 3 makes, with another one makes 7, you make a group of 15. And that's how you make chain. You just keep adding groups. I like to call it chain math. Notice I never do really hit it hard. Now I start blending everything in on the horn of the anvil, and I'm still not hitting hard. Want to brush it a little bit. Set it back in the fire. One more round of dressing it up. And we start dressing it up again. Blending everything in. Getting rid of that point on the end. Getting it back down to the original size. Make it oval. Get the sides straight so they match everything else. Heat that up and want to brush it real good. Want to brush that real good. Clean it up, clean them all up. We're going to go ahead and cool them. Normally I'd let them air cool. I wouldn't quench them. But there's our 3-link of chain. So that's today's video on chain making. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it worthwhile. Be safe. And thanks for watching. Bye.